I would like to be a volunteer and help the black cockatoos survive the bushland so that I can see them when I am older.
Initially this might look untidy, but what other values do these things have? So that's the sort of stuff that we want to expose people to. So what we've done with these couple of logs in the meantime is we've created a nice comfortable place to sit, and around us we've put in a whole range of bush tucker and bush medicine plants. So it opens up the opportunity for the traditional owners to come in and have this discussion about the importance of these plants to their people as well. And it also exposes people to this notion that there may be other useful plants in the natural environment that they're not aware of. We tend to see the bush as being hostile or at best benign, and all our food plants are something that come from overseas. But there were people who existed quite happily and quite successfully on the resources in this area. So we've tried to capture some of those and bring them in to this area for that discussion. What we've tried to do, we've got a limited time. People come and visit the centre, and we want to expose them to some ideas and different ways of thinking about the bush and different ways of thinking about their garden, I suppose. One of the biggest problems that we have is fragmentation and isolation of these chunks of bush. So we're lucky here that we're linking on to the Bibra Lake bushland. We're an extension of that with what we're planting. A little area like this by itself constitutes very, very limited habitat. Might be a few birds, might be able to support a few insects, the occasional reptile in here, but by itself it doesn't amount to much. What we need is lots of these little bits to link up, to join. We need sympathetic plantings all the way through the metropolitan area if we're going to be able to support our wildlife. This is Tagesasti, Camassatesis parmensis from the Canary Islands. It's just starting to set seed now. You can see it's producing a huge number of pods which will have hard, long-lived seeds that will stay in the soil for decades. This was introduced as a fodder plant. It has great value as fodder. It's a nitrogen-fixing plant, but it is becoming weedy in the bush. It's not particularly invasive, but it's not desirable. It's not as good as the acacia solidium that we were just looking at. We've also put in, there was a garden plant here. This section of the garden will just have a few plants, aesthetically pleasing but contributing almost nothing to the habitat value. So can we do better, I suppose, is the message that we're trying to get through to people in this section. Can we, everything that you get from these plants you can also get from something which is native and supplies additional values.
This is Little Hobbs. He's a little red male kangaroo. He was admitted to the Centre on Australia Day, which is pretty Australian. This poor little guy, his mum was hit by a car, but he survived. So someone checked the pouch, found this little guy in there and brought him in. It's a bit of hard work. Sometimes I really miss sleeping in, but I wouldn't change it at all. Wouldn't change it at all. I do like this part of the day. You get to come out and hang out with them again. It's a really nice quiet time. As you can see, there's still a bit of a pecking order. And some of these ones have moved in a while ago, but they are still pretty keen for a bottle.
At 18, I want to be patrolling the roads, looking out for lizards, snakes and helping out at Native Ark.
You can kind of feel it, yeah.
That's some of the that's fluid built up in there, but along here.
So is that like
That squishiness.
infection?
Yeah, well the tendon's been burnt too, so it's just tenderising. Yeah.
Definitely one of the biggest concerns for me is when people do use the bush or the beach or anywhere like that and they leave stuff behind, because not only does it ruin how it looks for other people who want to use it, but it's also dangerous for the plants and the animals that live there.
Just having a bit of rubbish in a bin just next to them and not even bothering to go there, going that far to put it in. Just little things that people just don't care about. They see an animal on the road and instead of calling someone to help, which takes a minute, 2 minutes, they don't really bother to help.
You can just do little things. You don't have to devote your whole time and join a political group and go out with Sea Shepherd or anything. You can just do little things.
Just with a little bit of research you can find out how to look after an animal just for a while until someone professional or who knows what they're actually doing comes and helps.
And then there's also bigger things you might do, so weeding at your community garden school, so I do stuff like that a lot.
You might see a native plant but you just think it's a weed, and it's just to do that proper little bit of research and just find out that it's actually a native plant and it should stay there.
I would like to be a volunteer and help the black cockatoos survive the bushland so that I can see them when I am older. Got a little girl and a little boy.
Matilda, there's a few times where I thought maybe we weren't doing the right thing because she was going through quite a bit of pain. But that passed, and I think we did a good job of raising her. I can bring it. Yeah, north up the freeway. Yeah, that way. And then that way. That's making control the whole. Yep. And another one around. Yes. Oh, you know what? That really bit in. We know they're not an endangered species, but when you realise they are little individuals and they really individually deserve to be saved. And we did invest a lot of time into Matilda, and at times we weren't sure if it was the right thing to do because she was suffering a lot, but that passed and I think we did a good job of raising her. And after seeing her today being released into the wild, it's really rewarding, and I think we made the right decision in keeping her alive.